All right, welcome back to the Grace Life Church podcast. I am your host, Brian Clark, and today we're going to wrap up what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks on Christians and politics and how Christians should be getting involved. So before we get into today's episode, do me a favor, subscribe on whatever platform you're watching. When you do that, it helps us get more viewers, which will, for your benefit, helps you get the message every week when it comes out. It comes straight to you. You get the notification on Facebook or YouTube, but then also helps us reach more people with the truth, with the gospel. And if you'll share it out on Facebook and YouTube, etc., helps us reach more people. So back again with my guest, Tim Robertson, and we have hit a lot of things in this over the last couple of weeks going through this. But today what we want to talk about is how can we get involved? And so, like, and then particularly within our church, how can people get involved if they're like, okay, I'm stirred, what do I do next?
Well, the biggest thing that stops tyranny is an educated citizenry. The citizens have to be educated. And here at Grace Life Church, we have a culture impact team. It's run by Gene and Bob Blassingame, and they're heavily involved in the political field. But what a culture impact team does is it allows we put on events, we educate people, we get the vote out. We we as a 501c3 cannot support candidates, and we don't endorse anyone, but it gets people involved in the political process. We may go to a school board meeting and oversee certain bills. There's certain bills that we may reach out and call our senators and our congressmen about. But it's just a way of getting involved.
Because there's power when we come together.
Absolutely.
And you get, one person saying, okay, I'm going to call my congressman about something. But if you have a team and you have 10, 15, 20 people start calling, like congressman's going to be like, we're gonna do something about this issue. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, in our society, it seems like a collective voice seems to be the loudest voice, and this is a way of us to reaching out collectively. Correct.
Yeah, that's a big issue, and I will say too, one of the things that the team that what they really do try to do is take issues, because we've established this over 2 weeks, that there's nothing really secular. God's involved in everything, and so we can't separate the spiritual sphere from everything else. God's involved in everything, but then it's how do you bring a Christian viewpoint? What would Jesus do on some of these issues, whether it's with the school board or whether it's with something that the state government or the city government or they're wanting to do? How do we get involved in that? How do we educate and then mobilize?
Well, me personally, I feel like I've got a yearning for me to. I'm putting together a 4-hour constitutional class. So in 4 hours, you'll get more about the Constitution than you will in 4 years of high school and U.S. history. So you need to educate yourself on how these systems.
That's a big deal too.
That is a big deal because that way when the president sends out a mandate that's not a law, you'll know that's unconstitutional.
Yeah.
It's good to know how a bill works. It's good to get involved with pro-life organizations. There's so many advocacy groups out there that you can find a way to get plugged in. But the main thing is, get involved at the local level. I don't know what hinders the Christian from getting involved in city council and or run for mayor, because we need you. The earth needs you. The country needs you, and we're starting to see this. COVID, I think, is the greatest revealer of what was really going on, and as that come undone, and we started seeing these shutdowns and all these mandates and stuff, we started to realize, man, we have lost our voice. and we need to get that back for sure.
Well, I think it really goes back to some of the things we've talked about, but it's the secularization of the society and in a sense of the church. We've allowed ourselves to be pigeonholed into, we do Sunday mornings, we do hospital visits, we do, which we should, but we don't actually see ourselves, what Jesus said, where we're called to disciple nations. We're called to be involved. We're supposed to be salt and light. And salt and light in the earth. He didn't say for us to be salt and light in the church. We're actually supposed to get out there. And so we haven't seen that. And a little bit, I think I talked about this a couple episodes back when we were talking about the social gospel. One of the things that has happened is for like in the 1920s, the Scopes monkey trial, and famous trial in history about evolution. And that didn't end up going so well for the Christians in the press. If I'm not mistaken, the Christians actually won the case, but it didn't go well in the press. But the way the press explained everything is it made Christian people look like a bunch of idiots. And it was one of the major factors that made people say, we don't want to get involved in that. We'll do God. We'll turn everything else over to everybody else.
Yeah, we're pigeonholed into thinking we've got these old ideas out of this old book, but our book, these new progressive ideas are not new ideas at all.
Yeah,
they've been tried all throughout history because human nature hasn't changed. I know two cities called Sodom and Gomorrah that had the same morals and values, and where are they today? Those things don't hold up. The one thing about our Judeo-Christian values is it builds a system that stands the test of time and is best for all people. So,
yeah, that's awesome. So, well, I want to encourage everybody that if you're watching this, I'd encourage you to get involved. If you're, watching this, you go to our church, or maybe look for a good church in the Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem area that is involved. I would encourage you, obviously, get involved in our cultural impact team. If you come to our church, get involved in that. If this is stirring you, and if you're in an area and you're looking for a church that does believe in getting engaged, check out the church. And if you feel right, get involved in this cultural impact team. We are wanting to go do what we can to really change the culture, change the community. And, one of the things that I'm passionate about, and I know Tim is, we're believing for, we're in the third great awakening. And I want to see, I can't maybe change a whole nation, but we can have some influence here. We want to see a citywide revival and a community-wide revival in the triad. And so politics is partly how we do it. We have to be involved to preserve our freedoms, and we have to take the truth to the ungodly. And this is why getting involved in the political sphere is so important. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this podcast. I hope it's blessed you. I hope you've learned a lot. And then like and share this on social media. If you have questions, you can send in your questions to us on social media as well. We'll be glad to try to answer them. And but anyway, God bless. We love you. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.